What's happening, party people? It is still chilly here in Albuquerque, overcast and windy. I would classify this as a cold day, too cold for me to be out here tinkering, so won't be getting no tinkering in the day. However, I am digging out a bunch of stuff that I'm going to ship to a few people, some things people purchase, stuff like that, different parts and stuff. I want to thank my newest Patreon members, George and Heather. Want to thank them for becoming a part of my support team. Appreciate your help. And then there's some that has gone to PayPal and sent donations. Benjamin G, Scott S, Helmuth B, I'm not sure how to pronounce that. It's probably a European name, I imagine. And then Joel C, I appreciate your random donations there on PayPal. So renewed my membership to VCOA. I wanted to be a member of that so I get possibly notifications of VCOA events. They claim to be the largest Volvo club in the world, I believe. I don't know how many members they have, but I do know that the average age bracket of that thing is probably a little higher than my age. Like to see some more, youthful involvement in that, and hopefully have some meets and get to meet people and enjoy seeing other Volvo enthusiasts in action at different events that have Volvo Club of America sponsorship or leadership, however you want to do that. So still waiting on a few parts to come in for the cars so I can start digging in, not to mention the weather to break a little bit nicer, mainly looking for a little less wind. That allows me to do recordings. When it's windy out, I don't really get to do recordings. It's very difficult. I did a video yesterday I posted. Man, I don't even remember what it was. I think it was the cam cover matching with the cylinder head. I had to do voiceover on a lot of that, which was kind of tricky, but I think it went over okay. So hopefully this week coming, I'll get the rest of my parts in for Panther and Queen Bee and get to knock those things out so that I can prepare to move on to other people's vehicles and other things. Now, I've ordered a few things from the internet to, kind of fill voids I have in some of the things I do. One thing that caught my eye was a Wi-Fi connectivity box that was supposed to boost my speed. Scam. Didn't boost my speed, and when I unboxed it, it claimed to have been a Wi-Fi extender. So this may be good for those of you that have somewhat Wi-Fi dead spots in your area. I'll do a little video of that, put that together, post it. It did not boost my speed in any way. It might have lowered it a little bit in downloading, but it may be good if you have a ranch house or something that you may have problems getting Wi-Fi in your garage or something. You could probably hook this thing up just inside the house to help you get a signal in your garage better. But that was one thing I did do. Tuning Panther, man, I feel like Panther is running stronger, maybe a little faster. The logs that I'm sending in the VAS, they think I'm having issues and boosting slower, so I'm getting mixed emotions with the tuning process there. It's a little bit difficult. Now, I put this new turbo on Panther that I've heard guys proclaim this is a nicer turbo. VAS seems to believe it would be a better turbo for people with smaller displacement engines. He said that he believes the 6x6 compressor wheel is better than the 11 blade compressor wheel. It has better spooling characteristics, but that just falls back to, before you do modifications to your car, communicate with your tuner, man. Don't spend money that you don't have to spend if their experience with tuning a couple hundred cars proves that you're better off with one piece of equipment versus another. So that's an expense that I may have gone wasteful on, putting that new turbo on. But again, to me, it seems like I have less lagging. It seems to spool a lot quicker. It seems more powerful. It seems quicker. My car feels lighter. You know, I don't understand. But he's looking at the data and the logs I send him. So that's another point. So there's also something come up that I need to fix to hopefully finish this tuning off. So kind of strange. Now we have a oil sample on Queen Bee. I looked a little closer at that oil sample. I'm going to try to post it in this video here. The oil sample was concerning. They made some remarks that they think the engine is having some aggressive wear. When I looked at the numbers, I'm not really sure if there is really aggressive wear in there. Now, they got a column on the oil sample all the way to the right that says industry averages. Now, most people in the USA that has T5 Volvos that care enough about their cars that would do an oil sample, I believe most of them actually do oil changes 3,000 to 5,000 miles. I joke with them guys all the time. I say, hey, when you drop that oil, please catch it in a clean pan, put it in the container and mail it to me. I'll finish using it. Now, in this oil sample, it indicates that I have high wear indicators. Now, when I compare the industry average, which people change their oil 3,000 to 5,000 miles, let's just say 4 on average, and compare their particles to my particles after driving 15,000 miles, it kind of washes. So if they have a wear indicator of 5 at a 4,000 mile change, and my wear indicator is 15 at 15,000 miles, that's 3 times the mileage that I put on my oil. So I'm not sure if I'm having some adverse wear. I'm still going to take the car to the shop, have a smoke test done on it. Still want to have a smoke test done, get that checked out, make sure I don't have any intake leaks, press forward to there. I'm not going to let that bother me so much, but at 5,000 miles, I am going to take a sample of the oil. Not going to change it, just going to take a sample, and I'm going to mail it in for an oil analysis to see if things are better. We'll see what happens. So I'm getting ready to do some unboxing of a few items that I got in the mail so you guys can see what I got, possibly see what's coming up with some of the videos, and then hopefully put this oil analysis video together for you. So let's see what I got in the mail. Package number 1, made in China. This is for another Fitbit watch, the Fitbit, I guess, Versa. I didn't have a charger for it. One of my viewers, my buddy in New York, wasn't using the watch, gave it to me, so now I got a charger. I got to locate the watch, hook it up, and start counting my steps again. I don't think my step count is that accurate with my phone. I set my phone down, walk around all the time, so it's hard for me to reach 10,000 steps with my phone versus my watch. So we'll get that straightened out. Here's a deal here that I'm somewhat excited about. It's a DJI product. DJI is probably one of the leaders in drones. This is what they call a gimbal. It holds your phone for you, supposed to hold it more steady than you can. It has a tripod feature where I can set it up. It has other features like follow me and stuff that may just increase the quality of the filming of the videos that I post. So, smart stabilizer used for a smartphone. My buddy Dan the Man turned me on to this. Somebody told him he had to have one. He got one and he raved about it so much he talked me into getting one. So again, thank my supporters for enabling me to purchase stuff like this. Hopefully it'll be something very useful. Got my goodies from IPD, man. Oil filters for your 850s, P80 cars with the engine. Spin-on canister type oil filters. You guys, I tell you guys over and over again, these are the only oil filters I use on my 850s. the Man W917s. I write on there my mileage and stuff like that. Only oil filters that I use for my in-engine vehicles. And what I'm mostly excited about, what's that? Oh, my bone tool. I lost my last bone tool. Got a replacement of that. And this is something I've really been looking forward to getting up. Let me break that tape. It's the hardware package for the rear anti-sway bar for the P80 cars, front-wheel drive cars, and this is for Queen Bee. I have a bar that I need to do a little cleanup on and then paint it to give it a little rust proofing, and then that's the hardware for it. So I could look forward to getting the anti-sway bars on Queen Bee pretty soon here. Last but not least, I got a 3-inch straight flange, probably older Obx Downpipe from somebody. Normally when I see these for sale on Facebook or wherever else I find them, I grab them as quick as I can because they're getting hard to find. And if you guys seen the video about the basic performance upgrades that you could do on your P80 cars like your 850s, this is a very good upgrade to make. When I went from the stock downpipe to the 3-inch downpipe, it really helped my turbo build and maintain the boost. Before I had this downpipe, my turbo would lose boost. It would boost up to 10, bleed off to about 7.5, 8. But when I put this on there, it was able to hold the boost. So I got this one for one of my viewers. They said they were wanting one, looking forward to getting one. So when I seen it, I grabbed it. I'm going to get that over to them. So if you guys see 3-inch downpipes for sale, especially these straight flange downpipes, grab them. If you have an 850 9495, you'll also have to replace your exhaust wastegate flange because yours has a conical, and in 96 they started putting straight flange ones on there. So those are easy to find. These downpipes are hard to find. So if you happen to see one of these for sale somewhere and you don't need it, let me know so I can grab it for one of my viewers. And if you don't have one and you need one, let me know and maybe I can help you locate one. So that's it for the unboxing. Let's get inside out of this cold and mix this video to send it to you today. Welcome to Hanging Out with Robert. That's me. This video contains things that I tinker with throughout the day. For step-by-step detailed instructions of those tasks, you can click on the links in the comment section below. I plan on leaving this video accessible for about 30 days. After that, you can view it through my Patreon account. This video also has tips and tricks that I've learned over the years. So, thank you very much for watching. What's happening, party people? I am dragging around on a Friday. Didn't get to post a video today. All the videos I have are incomplete, mainly due to the wind noise in most of my recordings. Man, this wind around Albuquerque is blowing pretty strong. It's spring, early spring here, and that's what we get. It's a little calm early in the morning when it's a little colder, and then as the day goes on and the temperature warms up, the wind gets crazy. And when that wind's blowing, it's real bad for outdoor recording. So I got a bunch of videos that have a lot of wind noise in them. To me, the wind noise is too loud to post clips on YouTube. So I got to work my way through that. I got a few things I need to get done. I've been waiting for parts to arrive and things to come in. I mentioned to you guys that I had a oil lab results come in for Queen Bee. The results was not good. They proclaim that I have a lot of engine wear going on. They think that the issue is coming in through my intake system. Somewhere between my air box and the intake manifold, they think there's a gap. I got a leakage. So when the car is in vacuum, it can actually suck dirt into this leakage, and dirt coming into your intake is almost like running without an air filter, and the dust that comes in there is real abrasive. Now, I thought I might have had that issue or things coming into it because I installed a bad turbo on Queen Bee. I don't know if you guys remember, but when I got Queen Bee, it had a bent rod that snapped the first time I drove it, or the first day I drove it, and that's why I replaced the engine in the first place. I bought the car with a bad engine. The turbo that was on there was a inexpensive turbo off of eBay. I won't use the China word on that, but it wasn't to my satisfaction. It blew the engine. I wanted to get off there, so I installed the turbo off of Panther onto Queen Bee, which was a 16T, and that's when I learned that that turbo was worn, basically worn out, wasn't boosting well. So I drove around with that turbo until I was prepared to put the 18T that's on it now. Somehow, I don't know why, I don't know how, I don't know where, I failed to change the oil after I put my 18T on there. Now, let me say this. The chemicals in the oil, even after 15,000 miles, was very good. Now, the first time I did a oil sample on Queen Bee, I think it was the oil that was in the old engine. And then I did an oil sample on Queen Bee, like 15,000 miles or 8,000 miles or whatever. I did a sample on Queen Bee after it had several thousand miles after the engine was replaced. And they said, hey, you got a lot of engine material in this oil, but it may be because you just started the oil, you just started to run the engine, this was the first oil change, yada yada yada. Now, I ran some inexpensive oil in the car after I changed the oil, and then I changed the oil at like 50 miles after I put the engine in, and then I ran the full synthetic Mobil 1. But that full synthetic Mobil 1 had what they thought was wearing, and it might have been because the engine was wearing in. However, now I ran another 15,000 miles on the engine unexpectedly without changing the oil after I replaced. The bad part is I failed to do oil changes when I replaced the first turbo to the 16T. And somehow, from what I could gather by looking at the oil filter that was on there, I failed to change the oil when I put the 18T on there. So I sent them a message back asking them, is it possible that the contaminants in the oil was from a bad turbo? And they kind of said that may be it, but they still believe that there's an intake leak on the car that's allowing it to suck in dirt, and this dirt is wreaking havoc on the engine in Queen Bee. Now, did it wear the engine out? No, car still runs great. However, in the 30,000 miles that I've put on the engine, I may have 200,000 miles of wear on it. So, I need to deal with that. I don't know if it's turbo crap in the oil or if it's actually engine material in there. Blackstone Labs believes is engine material. Now, they said the oil was in very good shape, which means the service pack that's in the oil, all the chemicals that makes the oil work right, to make the oil last long, to clean stuff in the engine, it was in great shape. This stuff was still 9.0. I don't know what brand new fresh oil is, but I kind of suspect fresh oil may be a 12. This stuff was 9.0. Normally, that stuff comes back after 10,000 miles of driving, about 1.6. So they say, hey, the oil is really good shape, but you do have these chemicals in there, these particles in there, that's indicating that something's wearing this engine out. So if it's not the bad turbo, dropped all that nasty stuff in the oil, the engine is wearing. The engine is wearing at a rapid rate. So I need to get a grip on that. I said all that to say this. Ever since I've put that engine in there and or that intake manifold, I believe that Queen Bee has an intake leak. The reason I believe that is because I have a high idle. I haven't been able to trace it down. Every time I turn around, the idle is at 1100 instead of 840. Occasionally that idle drops down, but most of the time that dang idle is 1100 RPMs. Since it hadn't really bothered the way the car drives and rides, I've been driving it like that. Now, I'm not saying I haven't tried to find it, because I have. I've bought starter fluid. I've sprayed around all the intake piping. I've sprayed around the intake manifold. I've sprayed around the PCV stuff. I sprayed around the turbo piping. I've sprayed around the intercooler. I don't know where this intake leak is, but I believe it's an intake leak, and I believe it's about the size probably of an ink pen, maybe a little smaller. So if you take a regular pencil, there's a hole letting about that much air in there. In this dirty environment I'm in, where dirt is blowing everywhere, yes, that car could be sucking dirt in from this atmosphere and causing wear in that engine. So I got a choice to make. Should I run my oil, the oil I just changed in there, 5,000 miles, run another oil sample and see if all that wear disappears? Or if I should dismantle all this stuff on the intake and try to find something leaking. Another thing I could do is take the car to a shop and let them do a smoke test to try to find something open in the PCV, in the intake piping, in the charge piping, in the intercooler. They'll find a leak if they smoke it. So, should I run the risk seeing if this was turbo wear particles, or should I blow a intake leak test, which I think it probably does have an intake leak because my idle's not right. So I'm gonna contact the shop probably and take it down there and let them smoke it, or I'm gonna buy a little smoking container thing off of eBay or something. They have these things, they look like paint cans. You drop some baby oil in them with a wick. You light that stuff on fire. You hook up a compressor, and the compressed air causes smoke to be emitted in the intake system because you plug in compressed air. Well, I don't have a compressor. I just don't. I don't have a shop. I do most of my work from home, yada, yada, yada. I do work in the apartment complex parking lot, tinkering minor things. I just don't have a shop with an air compressor. I could probably go use the one at the shop. They wouldn't mind if I plugged in, look for leaks. However, you really need to be in a controlled environment to find leaks. you can't be out in the parking lot. The wind will blow the smoke away. You got to get in a garage environment, close the garage door, pressurize the intake system with the smoking component thing you have, and find where the air comes out and fix that leak. So that's probably what I'm going to do, is contact my local mechanic down there at Master's Touch, set an appointment, drop the car off down there, let them do a smoke test. They'll tell me where it is. Then I'll pay them and then fix the leak. That's how it's going to have to go. If I don't, I'm going to keep having unmetered air get sucked in the system and keep putting wear on that engine. Now, from my perspective, all these white block Volvo engines are designed to last 500,000 miles. Heck, if in 30,000 miles I've put 200,000 miles on mine, that's not a great thing. I haven't checked compression yet. I might do a compression test to check compression and go from there. Well, right now I have made it to my destination. I'm sure you hear all the noise stop. I'm going to wander into this junkyard, do a reconnaissance, see if there's anything in here that any of my customers asked me to get for them, anything that I think would be good to grab out of here. Then I'm going to go pick up some stuff from my mail and then go back to my place and try to finish up a couple of these videos and tinker on Panther. It is now 2:58 p.m. Dang, here's some 16 BBSs. This is crazy. I didn't know they even had those. These have got to be super comfortable if you need 16s. 2001 Jetta. In this video, I'm going to show you how to replace the fuel door mechanism, that electric motor that opens up, releases the fuel door. The fuel door has a tension spring on it. If it's not latched, it will actually hang open. And if you've ever had a situation where you couldn't get that door to open because the switch inside the driver's door didn't work, this little motor didn't relieve the latch to let the door pop open. So you come in here, you pull the pins out of your little carpet area on the side. Let me let this seat down here so that we can have the seat down, and move this carpet piece aside. Stuck in here. Hold on a second, let me get this trim loose. You have this carpet pulled aside like that. You're not going to pull it all the way out because it's latched up there. You got a couple pins out the bottom, couple pins out up around here. So here's the mechanism here to release the fuel door. Pull this back right here, and it open this fuel door. You need one of these. You got to have these. These got to be good. That's your latch. Buy them new. They're only a few bucks. These things here. Sometimes I take them with me to help people out that don't have them. Sometimes if I could get them loose without breaking them. Yeah, this one will come out without me breaking it. Undo these two T25s. Inside the fuel area. Pull your plug out. That's unplugged. Next, you want to undo this T25. After you have that T25 unscrewed, when you do, have a grip on it because it will fall down into the fender if you don't have a grip on it. Be careful you don't drop it back in that slot. This one slipped out of my hand and fell down right here. So here's the motor. I don't know how to test it, but you could probably take a plug, put 12 volts on it, see if it works. Reverse polarity it, see if it works. I'm not sure if it works off of 12 volts or 5 volts. Look at all this dirt blowing around. Awful for your sinuses, your allergies. You want to wear your mask when you're out here. Here's the lab report from Blackstone Labs. It was ordered on 3/9/21. I guess that's the date they actually did it. Here is the engine type, the turbo 2.3 liter gasoline. That's the oil I use, Mobil 1. Gasoline. This oil had 15,621 miles on it. And the difference between the car miles and the engine miles is about 96,200 miles. So that's my information there. This is the comments I got on the oil report when I got it from them. It said the replacement engine is wearing more than expected at the pistons, which is aluminum, rings is chrome, steel parts, the bearings, silicon increase, so it may have an abrasive source that is contributing to some extra wear. It said check the air filter, the intake piping for any cracks, leaks, or loose fittings. Now again, I said I did have some kind of intake leak on this car because my idle is high. Some of the extra metal in this sample is partly due to a longer interval, but there's no denying the engine wear is more than it was before. Watch for low oil pressure, odd noises, and use a 10,000 mile run to monitor. The TBN is strong at 9.1. TBN is the additives that are in the oil, and they said that additive stuff is very strong. Alright, so here's some information that may or may not discount that this engine is wearing. Now over here it says universal averages. Most of the people I know change their oil every 3 to 5,000 miles. So if they have 3 parts per million at 5,000 miles, and I have 10 parts per million at 15,600 miles, that is actually along with average. If they have 0 chromium after 3 to 5,000 miles, and I have 3 parts per million, I'm not sure if these are parts per million. I'm just saying their table indicated a 3. That is 3 times as high. So that's a concern there. Now over here, they have 14 on their iron, and over here I have 37. So if you take 14 and multiply it by 3, because I went 3 times as far on my oil change, that may not be a bad thing. I'm actually lower than the universal average because I went 3 times as long. So this should actually be 42 if it was a long normal wear. Over here you have a universal average of 5 on copper. Over here I have 26. So that is probably twice the wear on copper than it should be. So this number should be 15, it's 26. Copper is a place of concern. Now over here where it says lead, that should be down near 1. I come over here, I'm at 22. That's very high. So that's a concern there. 10 is about the same. This is actually lower than even the average. The average is 88. Mine is 68. So there's some things going on there I do need to be concerned with. Mainly the copper and the chromium. So up here where it goes copper, bronze parts, that could be due to the turbo I put in there that bad turbo. And what was the other one? Lead. Bearings, lead. So there may be something going on with me having some wear and bearings, unless that had something to do with the turbo. So I'm not as concerned as I initially was. Over here, this is the initial oil sample that I got when I bought the car with a bad engine. So this was in the oil sample, 24 versus 10. That was 1. This was a 30 iron. Copper was a little high, and some of these other numbers was high. This molybdenum, whatever that is, was really high on the engine that was busted. Now down here, I got silicon. I got 7 here. If I take that 3 times 7, that would be 21. That was 26. It's a little high, not sure if I'm as concerned. Now when I look at my last 2 oil samples, this was 13,000 miles, this was 15. Now my aluminum doubled, my chromium more than doubled, my iron more than doubled. So this run here wasn't as bad, except for this number here. So yeah, I'm getting more wear in there. It might have been because of that bad turbo. We'll see. I'm going to run a 5,000 mile test and see how it compares to the universal averages, and see how it does in bringing these numbers down. That was kind of a long run on the oil. Now when you come down here, this kind of tells you the health of the oil as compared to fresh oil and used oil. Value should be between 65 and 78 on your viscosity. My viscosity is fine. That should indicate that there's really no sludging going on there. The viscosity at a lower temperature should be between 11 and 15. I'm at 12, almost 13. So that's good. Flash point should be higher than 375. It was actually better on this oil sample at 390. Fuel in the oil, which I think contributes to most of your sludging, is supposed to be less than 2. I was 0.5. No antifreeze in there, no water in there. Insolubles was half. TBN was very high. So this oil still had a whole lot of its original properties. I don't know where it starts at. Maybe it starts at 10. But anyway, this was nice and high. So maybe the oil sample's not as bad as their comment state because of the long run I did. But again, I'm going to take an oil sample at 5,000 miles and send it in for another lab just to kind of see what it does to these numbers. But I am going to take the car by the shop and have it smoked and check the air filter, make sure that stuff's all in good shape. So thanks for watching. If you feel that this information was useful, please like it and share it with your social media friends. You can subscribe to my channel so that you will get notifications of future videos that I post. You can follow me on Twitter, and if you need to contact me directly, please visit my website. And if you have any questions, leave them below, and someone or myself will reply to them. Again, thank you very much for watching.